chances are you haven't heard of the old oil can trophy. In 2011, the Alumni Associations of California schools Fresno State and San Diego State needed a rivalry trophy to commemorate their long-running college football matchup. An oil can from Fresno, dated from the 1930s, was found at a building project on the San Diego State campus, likely coming from fans who traveled between the schools along treacherous Highway 99. Buses and cars in those days carried extra oil and water for long trips. Thus, after a vote, the old oil can was developed and became the rivalry trophy that the Bulldogs and Aztecs continue to battle over. It's become one of the bigger rivalries in the Mountain West with one of the longer histories. We'll take a look back at this matchup and the oil can trophy on this episode of Stadium Rivals. The rivalry between the Bulldogs and the Aztecs dates back to 1923, with San Diego State pulling off a win in the first game, 12-2, in the Southern California Junior College Conference. The teams met 4 more times from then until 1942, before the first stint of the annual rivalry would kick off in 1945. San Diego State won the official start of the annual rivalry, 7-0 in Fresno. The teams would square off every year until 1979, when both schools were either in the same conference or competed as independents. The rivalry saw a remarkable 4 ties in just 14 years in the middle of the 20th century, including the 1950 matchup. With 6 seconds left and the Aztecs down a touchdown, 50 yards away from the end zone, QB Art Preston hit Jess Thompson, who took off on the most spectacular run ever seen in the Aztec Bowl, to score and secure a 20-20 tie. In 1960, Fresno State tallied a gargantuan 511 total yards to SDSU's 122, slaughtering the Aztecs 60-0 during homecoming. Dr. Paul Governale would resign as head coach at the end of the season, leading to the hiring of influential head coach Don Coryell. Facing a recruiting deficit against other schools in the state of California, Don Coryell saw many more QBs and runners available than defensive stoppers. He began a pass-heavy offense at San Diego State, coming to a head with a 44-6 win over Fresno State in 1964. Rod Downauer chucked it for 374 yards and 6 touchdowns, both SDSU records, allowing the Aztecs to roll to their 3rd straight win over the Bulldogs. His offense, known as Air Coryell, became a staple during his time with the NFL's San Diego Chargers. The annual rivalry ended in 1979 before being renewed in 1992, as both teams ended up in the WAC. In the 1992 game, Heisman candidate Marshall Faulk rushed just twice for 21 yards before hyperextending his knee and leaving the game. Fresno State QB Trent Dilfer's touchdown pass with 14 seconds remaining secured the 45-41 win for the Bulldogs.
The fade in the end zone. Touchdown!
The Aztecs played their first game in Fresno's new Bulldog Stadium in 1993. Dilfer and Faulk were still squaring off, Dilfer throwing for 272 yards and Faulk tallying 205 yards receiving, as Dilfer and Fresno State came away with a 63-37 win. Dilfer and Faulk would each go on to win Super Bowls in the NFL. The restarted annual rivalry would only last 7 games, with the Aztecs leaving for the Mountain West in 1999. However, a one-off battle in 2002 had SDSU falling in heartbreaking fashion. Tommy Karofsky's potential game-winning field goal was blocked, sending Fresno State to a 16-14 win. The 2011 game was the first showdown between the two schools since 2002. Down 21-0 on the back of 2 touchdown passes from Fresno's Derek Carr, San Diego State rallied for the 35-28 win behind 3 touchdown runs from Ronnie Hillman. With the win, the Aztecs became the first team to take home the old oil can. After the Alumni Associations agreed to the trophy, a hunt through eBay and a $35 purchase of a rusting 5-gallon oil can gave the schools the rivalry trophy we know today. Its base is emblazoned with the results of the past meetings between the two schools, the winners taking home the trophy prize. The Bulldogs joined the Mountain West in 2012, restarting the annual rivalry. The old oil can game may not have the panache of Ohio State, Michigan, or Auburn, Alabama, but the momentum in this West Coast showdown is building. The establishment of the old oil can and this matchup's history certainly helps. San Diego State holds a 29-24-4 overall record in the rivalry, competitive by any standard, making this a spirited rivalry, worth its standing in our breakdown on Stadium Rivals.